All right, Mark, Julie, thanks so much for taking time to do this live with me. I am looking forward to really diving into your business. I think it's so relevant today. I'm with Julie and Mark Fisher of Echo 70. Your business is all about creating ambassadors within companies and using social media at, I would say, a more aware space that people are actually thinking about it. I think in many cases it's so simple, it's complicated for people to comprehend. And so I'm glad that we have this time to kind of connect, because in the COVID remote working space that we are in, I think it almost gives people a space to kind of sit back and really receive and comprehend what you do and why it's so important, especially right now. So as we jump in, I have a lot of questions, but give everybody just kind of a gist of what you do and its relevancy as we sit here today on April 16th, 2020.
Well, thank you very much for inviting us here to be with you today. We appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Echo 70 is focused on helping businesses promote their messages online, particularly through social media.
Yeah. And so what is that? So go ahead, Julie.
What I was going to say is, so essentially what that means is we teach businesses how to use their employees as their online ambassadors for the business. They are able to, after we've trained them, share company information, news, updates on their personal social media accounts to amplify their business's reach.
So let's talk about that, because I want to talk about ambassadors, right? So I want to just kind of back up for a second, because I think as business people, one of the ways to look at ambassadors, which I think some people really don't, is to grow a business is if I can get these two people to be ambassadors and talk about my business, and then those two people get two people to talk about my business, right? It's like that. It's just a chain reaction and all of a sudden you have 1 million ambassadors, and it just starts with 2, but everything compounds and everything multiplies. And I think a lot of times, which I think I'm going to make an assumption that you're seeing, that a lot of times companies are not using the ambassadors that are right in front of their face. And so how do we initially, I believe that, things start with raising awareness. How do we raise awareness so we can then shift the mindset to get people to connect a little bit more to that?
We are.
One of the things I think that employers are forgetting or not recognizing, because normally when we think about marketing, we either think about a marketing department or a marketing agency, your PR people. Right under your nose, you have employees that you are already paying, that already work for you, and they are staying with you because they like you, they like your business, they believe in your business. These are the people who are going to have the most authentic voice for your company or on behalf of your company. And I think as employers, often we forget about all of those people that are already working for us and what they can do to help us grow our business.
And maybe your best brand ambassadors, because they understand and have lived whatever your cycle is, and they have solved problems for your customers, for your prospects, for your potential customers. They've already solved these problems, and they can speak best to what those are and how they can solve them.
Yeah, and what I love about your business is you have this, let's just say, C-level exec right here, and then you have the company right here, and you have the C-level exec team that is, like you said, Julie, talking to the marketing, outsourcing marketing company or internal marketing people. How can we attract people to our brand, right? A brand to me is what people say about you when you walk away, right? And marketing is all about getting people in the door. Well, who best to sing your praises, as you were saying, than the people who you currently have? And who best to help get people in the door than the people who can vouch that you are, especially today, living the values as a company that are on the wall in this COVID environment. And so to me, what I love about your company is that you kind of create that, you have that sliver where you can help facilitate and communicate that to the C-level team, and then bridge the communication and the gap of that so it doesn't come across as so corporate. I think one of the issues is that sometimes you just have corporate saying, do this, do this, do this, and their messaging is wrong. You come in and say, hey, let us help you with the messaging. Let us help do what we need to get, what you need to get done, and let us be the voice. So talk a little bit about that, how you come in and you do the training and raise the awareness and get people to just, step up in these arenas.
Well, certainly what we do is we meet with senior level executives, craft the message, and then have that message extrapolated and promoted by their employees who are delivering that message. There's nothing more powerful than one of your employees saying, I solved this specific problem for this specific customer. That message carries, importantly, authenticity as well as veracity.
Yeah.
It's truthful, it's authentic, they can deliver it, and they can say, this is what I did, and it expands all of your needs for your next prospective customer, all of your prospective customers. It's right on the money.
Yeah.
I think, and to answer your question about kind of process, so the first thing we do is we work with the C-level employees, the CEO, the whole C-suite, and we kind of get them up to speed, find out about the company, the tone, the industry, all those kinds of things. And from there, we help them, if they don't already have one, devise what we call a digital engagement policy, which Mark can talk more about in a moment. After we have that, we start to put together an employee advocacy program. And that includes training for the leadership. It includes training for the employees, and then separate training usually for the marketing team or whoever's going to administer the program. And then we're there to help them evaluate. We use lots of different technology companies to help facilitate, get the messages, the information across to the employees that they can then just deliver to their social media networks. And the analytics, the back end, tells them so much about how many people are seeing it, what kind of reach you're getting, what's resonating.
Yeah.
And part and parcel of that is we help them create what we like to call employee first content, which means that most of the time when you're creating content, you're creating it for your customers. It's not necessarily, depending on your industry, content your employees are going to want to share with their own personal networks. So we are able to take that content and put it in a format that makes it Instagrammable or Snapchatable or Facebookable, relatable, something you're going to want to share that's not going to feel like you're spamming your personal networks.
Yeah. I just want to say one thing that I love what you're talking about. I just want to highlight one thing, because it's the process and everything you just talked about. And you started off by saying policy and then process, but it is a process that needs to have a strategy and needs to have a team that implements it. And a lot of times people don't have the team to implement consistently, because that's what it's all about. What you're talking about is a process, so it continues to layer on each other. And in today's world, the key is consistency. And so, any thoughts on how, any thoughts on that in general? Just
wow. Well, there was a lot packed into that. Yes, you need to have consistency. It's okay. No, you need to have consistency. You need to persuade your employees that you're going to provide them content both this week and a month from now and 2 months from now and a quarter from now and next quarter, that there's going to be valuable information they can share. And similarly, or not so,
I
Additionally,
never say that word because I can never pronounce it.
right. Well, that's why I'm not saying. Additionally, so you need to provide them useful tools that they can share with their people that is relatable now and will be relatable in a month from now.
Right. One of the things, and you both have touched on this, I just want to highlight it because, I'm a business coach, and one of the things I talk to people is, if you want to double your business, double your asks. And the ask here, I always like to look for like, what's the ask? And the ask, which, and I had you both on my podcast, a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things that we talked about, which I think is worth bringing up, is the ask is ask your people the type of content and and what they think is appropriate to share. So they will, like you said, Julie, share it with their network. So a lot of times we're asking marketing third-party groups, we're asking this, but we forget to ask our people. And that's where you come in. So talk a little bit about that.
We find out where your people live. And when I say live, I mean, where are they spending their time online? So much content out there is created for LinkedIn. The average person spends less than a minute a day on LinkedIn. But they're spending 58 minutes a day on average on Facebook and 53 minutes a day on average on Instagram.
Yeah.
And now in the COVID era, I'm sure those numbers are much higher.
Yeah.
So that said, and we probably ought to be looking at TikTok too. I don't know about you.
TikTok
we're spending a lot of time on TikTok. I expected TikTok of the two of you by week's end. I expected TikTok. It is fun. It's really fun.
I'm rhythmically challenged, so there will be less TikTok from us.
My daughter and I are working on one of those dances. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I want to see it. I want to see it. Well, because I think people need to laugh and smile today, and so it is. I'm seeing a ton of people using TikTok.
But the
authenticity is important, and getting to your people, which includes where they are, whether it's Instagram or YouTube or other areas where most businesses have not thought of where they are, is critical.
Yeah.
And then giving those employees messages that they can deliver to those people on that platform. If it is TikTok, you need to find TikTok messages that will resonate. If it's Instagram, if it's Facebook, if it's YouTube, again, you need to deliver messages that are relatable and important in those platforms.
And appropriate for those platforms. A white paper is not appropriate for Instagram.
A white paper is going nowhere on YouTube. And Echo 70 is built around trying to expand your reach beyond LinkedIn. LinkedIn's wonderful, but 2/3 of the members of LinkedIn are not in the United States.
Yeah.
For example.
Let's talk stats for a minute, because I always love backing things up with stats, because I think what you do really hits the right and the left brain of C-level execs, of people, right? How do you kind of marry it? And so numbers don't lie, stats don't lie. There's all of this amazing, there's all these amazing ways to connect deeper with your people and for them to connect to their audiences, hence ambassadors, as you share. And but I lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
Stats.
Right. And so what happens when you're live, right? So what are some stats that people can kind of ground themselves in and say, oh, wow, that really makes sense. I need to invest in that.
So in terms of brand awareness, content shared by employees receives 561% more reach and 8 times more engagement than content that's shared just on your company channels.
The same message.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Say it again.
That is a lot.
Because now if somebody wants to say that again. So
again, content shared by employees is going to receive 561% more reach and 8 times more engagement than content that's shared on your brand channels. And in addition, people are 16 times more likely to read a post from somebody they know than from a brand. So
Yeah.
we can put the same thing on our company website that I put on my own, Facebook page. 16 times more people are going to read it. 8 times more will engage with it than if I put it on our company Facebook page or our company website.
Right. So, I mean, distilling that down, Jonathan, is that people are more likely to engage with your personal expression of your interest than they are with the identical post from your company's page, because they trust you, or they trust Julie, or they trust whomever is sending that information. Hey, here's something I think you ought to look at. Is 561% more reach, 24 times more likely to be engaged with than the identical post from the company page.
Yeah.
Even if you're Nike, even if you're Procter & Gamble, whoever you are, the likelihood of people engaging with that post, whatever it is much larger when it comes from someone they can identify with.
Right. Yeah. And so let's talk about how, if a company wanted to do that now while people are working remotely, I look at it and say, wow, less commute time. I mean, I know there's hecticness with everybody living under one roof and you can't really go anywhere, but also people have more time, less distractions, right? So what would you say to a company that says, this looks interesting, but how do I start it when my people are remote, or is this the best time to start something like this?
Well, that's a wonderful tip. And yes, this is the best time to start this. We're all stuck here. And the best question that we can help answer is, how do you meet new people? How do you fill your funnel? How do you add to your pipeline in a time when no one can leave their house? And we have the answer.
What's the end? Is this where we stop? Is this where we just end the right?
That's it. We have an answer, call us. No. The answer is employee advocacy through a disciplined plan that includes what we call a digital engagement policy that addresses all of those measures, from the FTC to the NLRB to state regulations, that make sure that what you are saying is appropriate, and then empowers your employees to spread your message through their social networks beyond LinkedIn. This is an opportunity to spread that message. And what you have to say, I assume, is vital. Whether you're an insurance agency or a HVAC contractor or whomever, your messages are important and they need to get out there. And that can be, we're still open. This is what we can do, even though we're partially closed. These are the parts of our store that are open. I don't know, but we can help do that, and we can help facilitate that through an intentional plan, which starts with a digital engagement policy.
Right. And when you say, I love the word intention, as the root of it is intent. It's as long as the intent is clean, it's whatever however they decide to do it today, tomorrow, next month, will evolve, as the market changes. And so it's not you tell me, it sounds like it's not just, hey, here's what it is, it's set in stone. It moves and evolves in real time or ahead of real time as the market and their company evolves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The point of being intentional includes evaluating what worked last day, week, month, depending on how often you do this, into what works going forward. And absolutely, you need to think about this as an evolving chain and a second channel of your opportunity to communicate with your stakeholders, customers, vendors, prospective customers, and so on.
And this is something that, we can do remotely. Ideally, in a perfect world, we'd be coming to people's office and conducting live trainings, but this can all be done remotely with your C-suite on down, and get people going while they're working from home.
Yeah.
There's no reason it can't be done while you're working from home.
Yeah. I've had more video meetings in the last month than I have ever. I mean, I think this is my 10th one today. I mean, it's video, 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 and it is. And you know what the key to video is, which I keep on telling people? Don't look at the camera or yourself. Look at the people you're talking to, because people get uncomfortable looking at themselves. You're not used. If we're in a face-to-face meeting, I'm not looking in a mirror as I talk at you. So you got, it's important to get comfortable. But there are, to me, I think it's a great time to do what you're talking about. I think people they're open to it. I do want to talk about this though. How do you get into really understand what they're doing? Are they one-on-one talks with people within the company, with the employees, the potential ambassadors? How do you really get an understanding of what they are looking for and need? And the reason I ask is because I'm going to give my opinion. When you are within the company walls, a lot of times an outside source can really get to the root of what they want. And they're more apt. I see it as a coach. I go into a company and everybody spills their, everything out, where somebody within the corporate walls can't get as deep. So I'd like to know your perspective.
Well, even if we're doing this remotely, we're going to start with the C-level executives and get through all of the things we need to get through so we can build out the program. But we'll also have the opportunity, hopefully, to interview certain employees, whether it's through an anonymous kind of survey, whether it's face-to-face call that the C-level people aren't on, so we can get that information, because the best program that we can design has to have all of those different stakeholders' input.
Yeah, it's great.
And we advocate using one of multiple software applications that allow the management to control which messages are then distributed on social media through all of their people, so that there is a consistency to the message being delivered, and that I'm not writing it and then my partner's not writing it and someone else is, and by the time it gets to an end user, it's been cobbled together and no longer sounds like the message my company wants to deliver.
Yeah, I love it. So what, in closing, would you, share with everybody kind of who your ideal client is, where they can get a hold of you, your website, your phone numbers, anything you want?
Oh.
Well, I mean, our ideal client is anyone who recognizes this unique opportunity in our lifetimes. There's never been a time like this, and realizes that they have under their roof dozens, if not hundreds, of additional ambassadors who can help them promote their messages, which may be akin to sales, but may not be. It depends on what you're trying to do. But all of those employees are your best ambassadors. Yeah. They can talk about what your business means to them, what problems they have solved for their customers, and we help leverage them to, again, beyond LinkedIn, which is not bad, but is limited and narrow, and get to the rest of the world. You have lots of customers. Every employer, every business has lots of customers that their employees can reach beyond LinkedIn. Aunts, uncles, friends of friends, and so on, that we can help reach through employee advocacy.
And so the best way to reach us, you can go to our website, echo70.com, or you can email us, and it's either Mark, M-A-R-K, at echo70.com, or Julie at echo70.com.
All right, good. And so this, in closing now, something fun you're doing while you're, staying at home and working remotely.
Well, I just completed all the light we cannot see, reading books, and catching up on serial comedies I have not seen. I'm 2/3 of the way through Schitt's Creek.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my family loves Schitt's Creek.
I finished Schitt's Creek. Last night I made my 20-something daughters watch Schindler's List for the first time.
Oh, wow, that's intense.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if that's
keeping it light.
I don't know if that's fun, but it's fun. It's a great education.
I felt it was a parenting fail that I hadn't done that as a former history teacher.
Oh yeah.
That they hadn't seen that, and they're in their 20s. So
Yeah.
that was
That's
on my
intense.
list of to-dos now that we have, because we were empty nesters. So
Yeah.
now we have our adult working children living at home with us.
Yeah. Right.
So
My
it's fun.
Yeah, my 14 and 17-year-old it's great because they were like, just all over, had their own world, and now they're with us, which is, I'm actually loving that piece of it. But one thing I've done is, speaking of TV, I never watched Curb Your Enthusiasm, so I finished season 10 and I went back to season 1, and I'm up to season 6, and that is hilarious.
Hilarious.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
It's amazing we've survived as Americans. You're right. All
right, Julie, Mark, I can't thank you guys enough. I wish you continued success. Stay healthy. Sending out, lots of health and love to everyone who's affected by COVID. And thank you for sharing your perspective on how to navigate your ambassador and grow your ambassadors in your company, especially in today's market. Very grateful to have you guys on the show, and thank you both.
Thanks, Jon.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys.